This meeting is being recorded.
That's the first time I've heard you.
Good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025. It is 10 a.m. This is a special meeting of the Presidio County Commissioners Court. We are at the courthouse in Marfa, Texas. If I could ask Madam Clerk to verify a quorum. Present.
There precinct 1 here, your vice here.
Here.
Commissioner precinct 2, my name is Hernandez.
Here.
Commissioner precinct 3, Frank Ortiz.
Here.
Commissioner precinct 4, Betty Knight.
Here.
Got a quorum.
Thank you so much. If you would stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
for all. And so we're at the portion of the meeting where we open it up for public comment. The only thing you would ask if you have something to say in public comment, that it's not an issue, that it's not an agenda item. But any other concerns or discussions that you want to have, you're free to do it, and just, if you would, tell us your name, where you're from. So public comment.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. My name is Yvette Liu, Lone Star Strategy Group. We're here to come say hello. It's been a while that we've been here. I wanted to introduce Samson Rodriguez, who also came with me from the Coastal Bend. I know we've got a new commissioner, and just wanted to come say hello, and we'll be here for the next couple of days. So if y'all have any questions on grants or any of our services, please let us know, and we'd love to meet with you. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Yes, good morning, Judge, Commissioners, thank you for your service. My name is Gretel Enck and I am running for Congress for Texas District 23. And you may know my work here in Marfa through the Blackwell School and what we were able to accomplish there. And I just retired from the 25 years of public service. Most of that was with the National Park Service, but also the sport. And the reason that I'm here today is to invite you to a gathering that I'm having on Sunday. Here at the Paisano Hotel. And I value all of your input in what I'm doing. Really, my biggest priority right now is to travel around the district and listen to people and hear concerns and there's a lot of fear of what's going on in the world today. And so how can we build some bridges? So I'm not gonna give you any more of a stuff speech than that, but I thank you for your time and I really hope you can make it. And my email is on the back of the card, so if you want to have a conversation with me about anything that you're concerned about, I'm happy to meet. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Public comments. Anybody online that has a public view? Okay, we'll move on. Routine agenda items, agenda item number 1, discuss and take action to approve any budget amendments or any line item transfers.
Yes, sir. This is still for fiscal year 25. Our books stay open up to 90 days after the closing, after the new fiscal year begins. So the first one's for the elections office to other services, $624.17 from operating supplies, and this is to cover IT election repairs of what were done as an emergency. The next one's to non-departmental, $1,161.71 for the postage from other services, and this is to cover the postage costs for September. 2 non-departmental service contract licenses, $47.58 from juries to cover the canon cost for September 25. 2 non-departmental autopsies, $1,602 from pauper burials to cover the an autopsy cost. To the annex, $574.95 utilities to repairs from repairs and maintenance buildings and grounds to cover the September 2025 utilities. To Road and Bridge, uniforms, $142.67 for repairs and maintenance, buildings and grounds. To cover UniFirst invoices. The next one for Road and Bridge, utilities, $109.25. From repairs and maintenance, buildings and grounds to cover utilities. To the airport, to the incentive, overtime paid, $3,597.67. From the salaries assistance, and this is to cover the fuel bonuses. To the airport, to the utilities Marfa line, $784.59 from capital, and this is to cover the September utilities. To the jail repairs and maintenance equipment, $2,033.67 from utilities to cover fan repairs for a jail cell. The last one's to the sheriff's office, Senate Bill 22. Service contract licenses, $3,133.32 from the salary jailers. And this is to reclassify an invoice to the correct account.
Any discussion, question?
No, I'll move that we approve the line items as presented.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I don't have any budget amendments.
No, okay. So we'll move on to agenda item number 2, discuss and take action to approve the treasurer's list of claims and bills.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners.
Good morning.
The amount for bills is $31,285.85. It is just routine, monthly bills, Verizon, Pitney Bowes. The Gel Geek. Yes, we did have that, that was a big one.
Thank you.
And as soon as they get approved, we've already got the FedEx. We'll get it set up.
I move we approve the bills as presented to the amount of $31,285.85.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Florcita.
Regular agenda item number 3, Alicia Sanchez, the county auditor, discussion with action to approve engagement letter for single auditing services for the year ending September 30th, 2024 with Gibson, Ruddock and Patterson LLC.
Yes, sir. So this is for our single audit for fiscal year 24. We are trying to get caught up on our audits. So on your drive, you should have the engagement letter. If you want to see a paper copy, I have one right here. Just a basic engagement letter, but this is for single auditing services, since we did spend more than $750,000 in grants for the fiscal year of 2024.
Mrs. Park, do you have anything to add on regarding the engagement letter?
It's a basic engagement letter.
I don't have anything I haven't seen.
I'll move that we improve the engagement letter for the single auditing services for the year ending September 30th, 2024 with Gibson, Ruddock, Patterson LLC.
Second.
I have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners. Judge.
So I do have one question. So this will get us with 2024. We're all caught up with that, and then
We'll start,
Nice.
yeah.
okay. Thank you.
I have a question. What do you think the time length will be on it?
I cannot tell you, sir.
Couple of months?
No,
More?
more than a couple months, yes.
Okay.
But I'll keep you updated.
Cross our fingers for 6 months, maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yes.
Agenda item number 4, discussion with action to amend the effective date for the Presidio County fixed asset policy to 10/1/2023.
So this relates to, I'm sorry, to our audit, the commissioners, you guys just approved the Presidio County fixed asset policy. But talking to the external auditors, it would be beneficial for us to amend the effective date to be able to use this effective date for our new audit. That way we don't have to capitalize any items over $500.
Oh, yeah.
So it will simplify our life. by amending that date.
Nothing changes but the date.
No, but the date, yeah, that's the only,
You said internal, you meant external?
I'm sorry, external audit.
Okay, thanks. I move that we approve the amendment of the effective date of Presidio County Fixed Asset Policy to October 1st, 2023.
Second.
Motion and second. And really the only big thing with this one, Commissioner Knight, is we changed the tethering the fixed assets from 500 to 5,000 this week, and it's something that's really should have probably done a while back ago, but it's something that's becoming more and more routine. Make it a lot easier when we have to do this. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
We'll move on to agenda item number 5, with Chase Snodgrass, the airport director. Discussion only airport development plans and status presentation.
Or just, you have presents for us, Stan?
No, I think just for the microphone for the people that are on Zoom.
Good morning, I've been doing this for about 15 years. In the early days, I used to come just about every commissioner's court. I have my youngest son was a redhead. When he was little, we were driving, I think in Houston, and trying to follow the GPS and wondering if we were on the right track, and the GPS wasn't saying anything. And I said, "Is that thing working?" And my very smart little boy in the back seat, he said, "If it's not talking, it means you're going the right way." That's really the general reason you don't hear from me much anymore, is because I think everything we're doing is going the right way, and that's a substantial change from how it was 15 years ago. But I just want to start with, if you just scroll to the bottom there, just that right there. All the funding, this is a snapshot of the budget at the end of fiscal year 25. This is something I asked the auditor for every year. The fiscal year is not closed out. These numbers might change a little bit, but as a general rule, this is typical for what is happening at the airports for the last probably 10 years, with the exception of 2020 and 2021, because during the COVID-19 thing, we barely survived, because all air traffic stopped for about a year. But we have made enough money in the first 6 months of 2020 that we got through that year without having to seek any other funding. We just didn't have any surplus. So notice that the surplus revenue is about $95,000. 84% of the revenue comes from fuel sales. Total revenue is $315. Total expenditures, since we had that means that our break-even operating cost to operate and maintain the airport goes about $220,000. And that's fairly typical. It's not, it's not a fixed number. But we had $95,000 in surplus, but that money is saved in the airport fund and is used as the match for 90% capital improvement project grants. So it's not really 95,000, it's $1 million. And I would say, when it comes to the county, you guys are involved in everything in the county, so your attention is a mile wide and an inch deep. I only do airports, so my attention is an inch wide and a mile deep. So I don't really know what happens in the rest of the county, but I would say that the airports contribute more to county asset growth than any other department, probably by a lot, because we're talking about $1 million a year that's coming in because of the way the airports are set up. It took us a long time to get there, figure out how to do it. And the way we do that is by following grant assurances. So when you accept money from the state or from the federal government, it comes with strings. And those streams are, every grant has them listed in there. They're called sponsor assurances. That's FAA's term for the airport owner as a sponsor. Because they view it as their asset as well, because it's part of the national transportation infrastructure that moves aircraft globally. And so for them to put money into, they have to make sure it's managed according to their rules. And when we follow those rules, this is very, very much the result. So it's not a perfect system. You know, if you drive out to the Marfa Airport and look around, you'll think, wow, the terminal building is kind of shabby. And it is, you know, we've had better success at the city airport, but the reason is pretty simple. Grant money has to be spent starting at the middle of the runway. If the runway is not right, you can't spend it on anything else except the runway. And then once the runway is right, you can go to runway lights, you know, and once that's right, you can go to taxiways. Once that's right, you can go to parking areas. And like the last paving project we did at Marfa, the pavement was in horrible disrepair. We almost had to close the airport. It was so bad because the jets that were coming in were running the pavement, especially after heavy rains. That project cost $5 million. We did not have the funds in place to just pay that match outright, so we borrowed the money to do it. The last payment is in December of this year for $67,000. It'll come out of this money right here. And so it's not costing the county anything. But now that project's going to be paid off, we'll start throwing money in the airport fund a little bit faster, assuming everything goes right. I mean, who knows if there might be another international disaster like we had in 2020. I don't, you know, foresee that, but we always prepare for it. That's why we pinch our pennies. We don't spend money unnecessarily in case something does happen like that. But and I have some other pages, but I don't want to get too much into the minutia. In 2020, we completed airport action plans for both airports. It's a grant funded project. State put up $175,000 and we paid the 10% match on that. If you look at those, well, you can scroll through them quickly, Carrie, if you don't mind. There's short-term, medium-term, long-term goals. This is just an overview of the Marfa Airport, and it shows buildings to be taken out, others to put in. The plan is flexible, but it gives you a guidepost to go by. And go ahead and scroll a little bit more, and it'll break down the cost on the next page of what some of the different items are. So the next project we have in place for Marfa is to reconstruct the taxiway that services the main runway. That's because when we did the paving project, they didn't have enough funding to do the taxiway and the runway. So those big jets, I don't know if you guys have been out there to see them, but they're big like airliners, some of the jets that land here. It's not good for them to be turning around on the runway because they're wider than the runway is. So they need a parallel taxiway so that they only have to make 90-degree turns, you know, as they go, instead of having to make a 360. And the taxiway as it is now will not support anything over about 12,000 pounds, and some of those weigh 100,000 pounds. So this is the first thing that has to be done, and it's in progress. This says 3.2 million, you know, I think TxDOT is estimated 2.5. We don't really know until it goes out for bid. But that's in progress. We'll need 320,000, and it's going to be engineering in 27, construction 28. I anticipate we'll have plenty of money in the airport fund to pay for that when it comes. The next thing is that I've highlighted here, and by the way, if you add all these up, there's no way we're ever going to be able to do them all, unless some billionaire comes in and donates to the airport and wants to do it. I mean, I don't see a way we could ever do it, but we had an issue with the fence this last year. The antelope, dirt washed out under the fence, antelope got in and were standing on the runways, and that causes a pretty significant hazard to aircraft taking off and landing. So we need to come up with a better solution. Commissioner Knight's talking to a fencing company here, see if there's any way we can do it. See if TxDOT does it, it's going to be $1 million, which means it'll cost us 100,000. If we can do it for less than 100,000, we could possibly use some grant funding for that. But it's on the list of things that has to be done. And then, the thing that we've already started is constructing a new airport entrance road at Marfa. Just piecemeal, we just did the base this last year using grant funding. Because the way the airport entrance comes in, anybody from the public can just drive right in where the aircraft operate, and that's a no-no. So we don't have the funding to just come in and fix it. But we're working on it, but as I said, they won't give us any money for anything else on large projects until that taxiway is rebuilt. So it's not sexy, nobody gets excited about people on the taxiway, but it has to be done for the airport to function properly. And then if you'll scroll down some more to the city airport, so here's the 0 to 5 years, $1 million local match. Go ahead, a little bit more. And then medium-term goals. Go ahead, scroll some more. Okay, I guess you can't say that loud. 6 to 10, you know. And then they had it for long term is to construct a new general aviation terminal and auto park. Everybody here in Marfa wants there to be a terminal done faster, and I understand because the one we have is horrible. It was intended to be a long-term project. There's only 50% funding available for terminal construction. You know, that still seems out of reach to me, but so what we want to try to do is rebuild an existing building at lower costs. And refurbish it kind of like we did at Presidio so that we have a functional terminal without spending a lot of money. If you'll just quickly scroll on down to Presidio Airport. The Presidio Airport, we were very fortunate, and the main reason is that the ground that the airport sits on is extremely strong from an engineering perspective. So that runway will support anything that will land there. It's rated at 30,000 pounds per wheel, but that's only just because engineers just don't like to overpromise and underdeliver. Realistically, it's very strong. So we don't have to do a lot of work on the runway at Presidio, and ones that we have available can be used for that. The Presidio Airport doesn't produce. It's not where the surplus funds are being produced. They're being produced at Marfa Airport. And because it's part of our local airport system, you guys have the option of sharing those funds between the airports. But because Marfa is the one where all the traffic is, it's the one that requires more money to maintain. And so, you know, when I talked about that $1 million a year coming into county assets, that's not the only economy that the airports are involved with. They bring in much money. In fact, the reason we have airports is twofold, and I just want to reiterate this. Number one is emergency response. When you have a tragedy, and get an aircraft in there can get hurt people out faster, can get resources in faster. And the second reason is commerce, economic activity. So Presidio is a perfect example. Solitary Homes would not be there if Presidio did not have that airport. Because they're based in Duncan, Oklahoma. When they started looking for places to go along the border where they could find low-cost labor in Mexico, first thing they want to know is how's the airport. And so that's a huge reason why they chose Presidio over other options they had. In Marfa, Marfa used to be an agricultural economy, now it's a tourist economy. And that tourism is driven very strongly by the art world. And those people that bring in those art exhibits do not live here, and they would not drive here. They fly in from all over the world. You know, we get flights every week from New York, New Jersey, Hollywood, Switzerland. They come from all over to do the art events and all that kind of stuff to drive the economy. So anyway, I think that's all I have to say. I just wanted to touch base. I'm very accessible. I answer the phone right away. If I don't, I'll call you back in a few minutes. Emails, however you want to reach me. If you want to meet in person, I'll sit down with you as long as you want, because like I said, it's a mile deep. There's a lot of stuff involved in keeping airports going. But that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them now or ask them.
I was looking at some of the numbers from the port of entry. Are you seeing any increase in international flights coming in to Presidio?
No, not like this year. You know, whenever we did the improvements at Presidio Airport, we had about a 50-fold increase in traffic. So in other words, from 1 a year to 50 a year on international arrivals. And I don't know what the numbers are, but
I think
It is
it's about-
open.
It's about 80, about 85.
right, there you go. So I mean, that's another increase. Attracting them to come to Presidio is. When people plan, do flight planning, it's not like a car where you just punch in your GPS and it tells you where to go. Pilots have, software programs and it'll draw a straight line from their origin to the destination, but then they'll say, okay, what's the fuel price? Or do they have the services we need and that kind of thing? Well, when you're talking about international travel, there's only Del Rio, Presidio, and El Paso. There's not any other places you can get a customs inspection coming back. So when they draw a straight line, it comes right over Presidio. Then they want to know, okay, can I get fuel there? Yes, you can, 24 hours. Now, some of the jets don't want to do self-serve. But to me, it doesn't make any sense to try to put a full-time person there because that would take away from the budget surplus we have and make it so we couldn't do the larger projects. So we have a part-time man there who keeps the place clean, spotless. He's doing a great job. That's low cost. But so we're a ways from being able to attract more jet traffic because they won't get out there and pump the fuel. And pretty for good reason, because if you get jet fuel on you, even a tablespoonful, you're gonna be smelling it the rest of the flight. It's horrible. Avgas is not that way. You get it on you and it evaporates in 20 seconds and what's up. But
Have you ever looked into getting the Marfa Airport designated international? Is it even doable?
I haven't. It's probably not doable because you got border patrol here,
Right.
but it's the blue uniforms that do the entry inspection.
Correct.
And so interesting, this is just a little bit of trivia. The Presidio Airport is not designated as an international airport. So it's what's called a landing rights area, which just to simplify it, means that there's customs nearby. And if you call and ask permission to land there, they can say yes or no. Now, they've never said no. And when pilots call me, I say, you don't have to ask them. You just say, I'll be there Monday to 11. And they do show up. So, my guess is that Marfa would not work because Border Patrol doesn't do entry inspections.
Correct.
Border Patrol does in between the ports of entry. So there's a way to do it, but it costs a lot of money. Because somebody would have to pay to have a blue uniform station here because the government wouldn't pay. Federal government wouldn't pay.
Have you met the new port director?
No.
Maybe one of these days we can get together. We can at least have a conversation.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I know that there is a charge that the plane has to pay to the government, correct?
No, Presidio, no, sir.
No.
No, that's true at Midland. It's it's called user. I forgot what they call it, user fee airport, where they, at Midland, they do. In other words, and it's actually the city of Midland has to pay customs to have an office there. But then they recoup that by anybody that lands internationally, they have to pay a quite substantial fee. And that's good news for us, because there's a lot of people that don't want to pay the fee at Midland, they'd rather just stop here.
I think it'd be at least worth exploring.
Sure. Well, one of the things that they've asked for in the past is to have their own facility there. There's no grant funding available. Unfortunately.
It's in the master plan.
It is.
But there's no grant funding.
Yes, sir, that's correct. Now, when you ask customs for their bill standards, you'll go, this is outrageous. It's a $2 million bill. But the fact of the matter is, you can get by for less. And the previous owners of Solitaire were very good at contributing to the community. I don't know the new owners of Solitaire because they're not as accessible. But one of the things that we talked about and we're hoping that we can get them to do is for them to build us a building and then just modify it to conform to what customs wanted, and probably could have got it done for a lot cheaper. That's still a possibility since we do have a building manufacturer right there, 5 miles away. So there's workarounds, you don't just have to, buy the full $2 million, but if we could do that, we could probably get the airport designated as a port of entry. And then a lot more pilots would see it. Because if they just do a search for coast of entry, they only see Del Rio capacity.
One of the reasons why I really wanted Chase to come in here is to let all the court know, just how beneficial it is for us to have that airport and how, successful it is. I also want to share with court that, Chase and I have been discussing having a meeting with all the pilots and hangar owners out in Marfa. In order to make sure that everyone kind of understands why we do business the way we did, why we do it. Joe, I think you were on a committee years ago, working with the Presidio Airport and stuff. But we have a large contingency of folks that have hangars, either own it or lease it. And so in the spirit of keeping the waters calm, we're planning on having a meeting and really, fleshing out what is the master plan, because a lot of people don't even know we have master plans for both of our airports. And it's incumbent that the court understands how beneficial it is that we as the county collect fuel cells, because that is the money that we use to match the grants, and how we're able to do all the improvements at our airports, because in the past, when that was a private entity, that wasn't happening. In the airport, the runways, the lights, everything was kind of falling off. So under Chase's leadership, the Marfa Airport, the Lele Airport, they have tremendously improved. And I thank you for that, Chase.
I'll remind the court, this is a discussion only item. Does anyone have any other?
I have, so in Jason, we talked the other day about, and this is probably minor on, but it's not minor. If the fence goes down and you get antelope on the runway and one hits it, it's not. Anyway, after we talked about it, I knew, and over the years when I've taken care of part of the maintenance up there, anyway, we had propped that old fence up and done some stuff to keep it from falling down, but I took a dirt contractor out there the other day, he just showed him, he said, yeah, this washed out. But, and his main thing, he said it can be fixed, you could haul dirt in there, try to put it where it drains. Or, he said, before he could tell you what the total cost was, you'd have to actually get on the property next door with a transit and do some get grades and understand where the water was going exactly. I know eventually it dumps into Alameda Creek, but that's part of it. And we talked about concrete, and the one thing he said, well, it'll probably work. And I know most of us have seen this, here's one comment about concrete, well, if it washes behind that concrete, you got more trouble than you only want to do. So that was his effect on it. And I just mentioned it to Ruben Monday. And he said there's lots of material out there. Road and Bridge may be able to build that up and build it in such a way that if that water will. And it's just something to look at, that the water will release, it'll flow, and we can get it out of it. It's gonna go in that ditch, but it's gonna move it over.
Would that compromise our grant assurances?
No,
Okay,
no, I mean, we don't do anything without talking to the tech stuff. By the way, Marfa is a what's called NIPIS airport, which means it's federal funding. But in Texas for airports is a block grant state, which means the federal government takes all the airport money and gives it to Texas Aviation. They administer it. FAA can get involved at any time, but we don't do anything without talking to them and making sure they're okay with it.
okay.
And again, that just may be an option. We talked to TxDOT,
Yes.
and Ruben, and if it will work, it's the most cost effective way to do it, I believe. We both know it, and part of that issue is it didn't rain for so long, got so dry, when it did rain, the water just came through like a bowling ball, so. Anyway, That's just something to kind of know around, we'll
Yes,
talk
sir.
a little more, okay?
Thank you, Chase.
Thank you.
Denise, would you do me a favor? You see that second switch there? Yeah. Yeah, that one. I'm trying to turn this off.
You getting cold?
Yeah. I don't have enough insulation. All right, so agenda item number 6. Discussion with action to approve the hiring of Denise Estrada as the Presidio County Veterans Service Officer.
Yeah, commissioners, as you may recall, when we were dealing with our budget, exercises. There was a move to possibly, not have a Veterans County Service Officer. And on August 20th, we definitely approved to keep the Veteran Service Officer in there during budget, and on August 20th. Y'all gave me permission to hire a VCSO, which is Veterans County Service Officer. So I advertised that. And I am pleased to announce that we have a fabulous candidate in Denise Estrada, who is here. And I'm gonna ask you to speak, Denise, in a second. But Denise is a dedicated professional with over 15 years of experience in healthcare administration. But more than that, the thing that spoke to me the most about seeing Denise as such a great candidate is that Denise has lived the life of a veteran. She has experienced the need to work with the VA office. If you look on her resume, you see that she worked with the Olin E. Teague Veterans Medical Center, where she counseled veterans. And the thing that's clear to me, being the daughter of a veteran and having a VCSO to help my family, is the best thing that we can do as a court is put someone in a position that knows the position and lives the position. Denise, if approved by the court today, will next meet with the Texas Veterans Commission and go through a background investigation, drug testing and training. And I can't say enough. I met Denise at the at bingo on Thursday night in Presidio. And it was a fabulous get together. Denise won a lot of money that night. But the thing that was clear to me was that Denise is an honored vet. She received the Army's Achievement Medal, Southwest Asia Service Medal with 3 bronze stars. That says a lot. And so when we're thinking about taking care of our veterans in Presidio, and there are many of them, who better than a veteran that has walked in those boots? I believe we have Melissa Harcrow on the Zoom, who is with the Texas Women's Veterans, correct, Melissa? And Melissa has been very helpful to me in helping to formulate what our VCSO needs to look like from this point going forward. We are expecting Denise to become an accredited VCSO, which means she has to work a minimum of 1,000 hours. That way she will have direct access to the VA database. Past veteran service officers would have to basically pick up the phone and call the VA and work with someone that already had that access. Whereas what we're expecting out of our Presidio County Veterans Officer is that she will be able to get the answers and get things done. I am hoping that we will also, and Joe, you can help me with this. I'm hoping there's office space down at the our annex. I noticed that we have a commissioner's office, and I don't think any of us need that or use it. Do y'all use that? So I'm hoping that until we can find a real suitable place that we will support her being at the annex so that she's visible and veterans can go in there.
We
So,
also have access to the American Legion as well, and we can make space there. I know that it's getting tight at the annex, and, this isn't, I don't think it's, but I think it is public, the county, the appraisal district is hiring a new mapper and planner.
yes.
So I know that even amongst the current employees at the annex, they're playing around with musical chairs.
Right.
So, and then we have the juvenile probation officer, so we're just trying to get, we're trying to get to a place where we can move stuff around.
Well, Joe,
Yeah.
my end game was I'd love to see her at the American Legion. So thank you for
Absolutely.
that. And I know that the American Legion does belong to our veterans. So that's what this is about, y'all, is we have a wonderful individual in Sam Karras.
Yeah, Commissioner, what's the salary for this position? And is it a full-time or is it?
It's a full-time position and I have the salary in this file unless my auditor beats me to it. The salary is $26,279.76, but I think we got an increase. I think this
Is
is
that fiscal
from-
year 25?
this is 25. And
No, we don't get an increase unless there's an actual person in the position
Okay,
before
so
the
it's-
budget.
$26,279.76, plus there are benefits that go along with that, Sam.
Sweet, thank you.
Yeah, she will get medical insurance as well.
Right. So Denise, would you like to speak on why you want to be our Veterans County Service Officer, ma'am?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for allowing this to happen. And it's my honor to be in my county and to be helping my own veterans within my county. It's a dream come true, especially to be in Presidio and to be working in Presidio, which I don't think is gonna be working, it's gonna be a dream come true. I look forward to working with everybody in the county. I really do, and I want to play nice with everybody. And hopefully that we can all just kind of get our veterans together. To me, my hyper focus is gonna be just veteran position to BSO for now, and hopefully we can kind of start it off and then build on it, and hopefully eventually somebody can actually come and take over and I can just assist, and it could be something that we just build on through the years, because Presidio does deserve this. Our veterans do deserve this, and then I just heard there was a $695,000 grant given to Brewster County. So there's a lot of money out there for Davis County. So I'm sure Presidio, being that it's bigger, and that we have more veterans, that I'm sure that we can get a grant like that and we can start helping our veterans within our own county. But thank you so much again, and I am going to be counting on everybody and leaning on everybody from furniture to anything, but yeah, thank you so much. Look forward to working with everybody.
Anytime you need that you're gonna be here and you wanna use this office, point you can let me know, and I can park it here and.
Thank you, thank you.
This is an action item. So I will entertain further discussion or a motion.
Make a motion to approve to hire Denise Hansel and Presidio Veteran County Service Officer. Oh, sorry.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna take a short recess. It is 10:44. 10:44, about 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sutton.
Hey, if we could-
From Stephanie County. Going down to Simmons and all of that. Commission shall make the annual report. I can do some. Yes. Or the end.
Well, you know, I talked to Greg and I think Sol Ross is doing something.
We need to do stuff. Yeah, that's
Looking
like
at,
literally,
um,
and I think there's like a open meetings act friendly way. I don't know. Stop day, they're going back there. So, maybe your business space, yes, meetings and notice. Yeah.
Back
We'll give you a social media to for that. Will be a
It's 10:52 AM and I'm gonna call Commissioners Court back to order. When we left, we had just finished agenda item number 6. Again, congratulations, Mr. Estrada, look forward to working with you. Agenda item number 7 is a presentation with discussion from Colton Sinclair, Cybersecurity Engineering Team Lead, Regional Security Operations Center, Angelo Scope University.
Yeah, to remind the court, it was the meeting before the last one that the judge brought up about cybersecurity being available through Angelo State University. And Joe gave me permission to reach into Colton and his team about what exactly it is that they offer, because our cybersecurity runs out at the end of this month. So we wanted to make sure that the county is protected. So we're gonna have Colton and then we'll talk about the backup, because I don't believe that's something that you offer. Thank you for being here, Colton.
Absolutely. Good morning, y'all. Good Judge.
Good morning.
Appreciate y'all having us out here to talk to you about this. Really just wanted to come out and give y'all kind of a quick overview of what we do at ASUR, so Regional Security Operations Center, in terms of cybersecurity and what value the county can get from it. So primarily what we offer is top of the line security software, along with 24/7 security monitoring. That's 24/7, 365. So Christmas, New Year's, every holiday, we're always watching over our software for you. And so we basically provide this software, someone at the county will be the ones to actually install it. But then once it is installed, we provide both service and the software at no cost to the county. We received this funding through the state. Originally, it was from Texas Senate Bill 475. And it was provided funding for a Indian basis for 2 years. And then the most recent iteration is last legislative session, House Bill 150 approved the next 2 years of funding. So we're all set until fiscal year 27 for our funding to provide these services for free. And so really just wanted to come out and give you all a chance to hear more about it and ask any questions you might have. Really the big thing is it's free cybersecurity that we can provide to you guys. We're not, Big Brother in Austin or outside the state. We're from Angelo State University, not right up the road, but too far at least. My colleague and John, we're both from West Texas. I'm from Seminole, from McCain. So we definitely understand, the lack of availability for y'all to be able to get some of these resources on your own, especially some of this top tier stuff. So we're always really excited to try and present this opportunity to local counties, cities, and school districts.
I want to bring this full circle because Lone Star Strategy Group is here. The court may remember Lone Star Strategy got our phase 1 for cybersecurity, and they went after phase 2, and none of that was funded. And that's why we didn't get the phase 2 cybersecurity grant. And then we come to find out that's because the state made the decision to create these regional centers, correct?
Yes.
And Angelo State is our regional center.
Who are some of your customers? Who's your biggest customer?
Actually, I don't think I can disclose that, but I can tell you that we have some fairly large counties that are within the clientele, along with a very large school district, a few of them, but the biggest one is around 6,000 computers. And then our largest city is probably about 1,000 computers as well, along with our largest county being about 1,000. But we go all the way from really, really big all the way down to, we have several cities, at least in this area of the state as well, particularly, that have one computer. So there's no discrimination as to you have to have a certain number of computers or anything. Really, all that we ask is there's somebody that we have contact with at the county that can hop onto a Teams meeting with us every once in a while and install the software that we need to install. And then that's pretty much it for the most part. Kind of what that looks like after we initially onboard you is it as a continued service. Like I said, it's 24/7 security monitoring, so if they ever see anything that's weird, especially on those workstations or servers you might have. One of our analysts, we have a team of 12 that work 24/7 shifts. And every one of our staff members, including any of our student analysts, are all SUNY certified. That's just as well as the sheriff's office here. It's definitely relevant for y'all as well. But anytime we get into work that we think y'all need to know about, that we need to reach out to you for, generally speaking, we try and limit the noise as much as possible. So we're only reaching out for the things that are actually actionable and needed by the us.
And your services are provided probably predominantly, if not all, to governmental entities.
Yes, sir. Our actually approved client list is specifically for municipal government, primarily county, cities, and school districts.
One of the things that, and I know that maybe Colton can't mention it, but I don't have to abide by your rules. They have like 13 analysts, right, in the center. And then 32 student analysts, and I believe one of your largest counties is Tom Green. And they actually gave me a call, and I'm gonna be returning the call just to get feedback on how, but the message that the gentleman left me said that they were very pleased with what y'all were providing for us. Cause I think you have over 100 customers, right?
We do, we
Yeah.
have 75 that are fully onboarded and over 100 that are actually signed up. A large number of those are still in the progress of getting onboarded. And reasonably so, a pretty large majority of the ones we have on board are school districts because they're typically the most underfunded. But then we've really been going after cities and counties recently because they're all having the same boat and we're really having to go towards this. We've been making a really concerted effort to do that as well.
Right. And y'all use CloudStrike as the,
CrowdStrike is
okay. So this is just strictly cybersecurity. This is not day-to-day maintenance, backup and stuff like this. But what's beautiful about this is free to the county.
That's right. Basically, what you're doing, if somebody tries to hack us and say, if you don't do this $50,000, we're gonna delete your, that's what you do.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what we call it.
Yeah, that's a great example of really common attack nowadays about ransomware, where they'll install malware, your data and everything hostage basically.
Yeah,
There have been several ransomware incidents that we've been involved with and they're successfully prevented.
our appraisal district got it a few years ago, and they refused to pay the money, but they had to totally wipe out their system and start over.
Yes, it can be pretty devastating, but luckily we've got a lot of success in preventing it, which is really awesome for our clients. But one thing I did want to mention kind of in regard to the line between our services and maybe a normal IT provider. Typically the stance we take is we don't necessarily want you to forego any services you might currently get, but rather spending the same money, but just on different services from that provider, maybe newer equipment or other things. We want to do our best to be a good partner if you do have an IT provider. We don't want to push them out in any way, but we want to try and help save you guys money and maybe get some more value from that benefit. Yeah,
Thank you so much for saying that, Colton.
absolutely.
Any other questions? Discussion?
I wasn't running this week.
Anything else?
Let's go ahead and talk your name.
No, I think that's it. This is a discussion. Right, I appreciate it, yes. I don't know if,
I'm gonna speak on the next one, Judge, if you don't mind.
okay. Yeah, so we'll move to agenda item number 8, a presentation and discussion regarding cybersecurity for Presidio County by Mr. Mark Hanna of Nectar.
So, Mark Hanna is not able to join us today because he's being slammed with services in the county. But I think that was a perfect segue. What Colton introduced is they provide cybersecurity. In talking with Jeff Davis County and Brewster County, they both informed me that that is a wonderful service and they want to know how it works for us. But they strongly advise that we have to have a local provider that will be able to handle our day-to-day IT needs as well as our backup of our system. You may recall that more recent than your recollection with the appraisal district, our tax assessor collector's office this year, it wasn't cybersecurity, but some way our database got wiped. And Mark was able to come in and basically put it back together again, and we didn't have to input like the appraisal district did. So just want to remind the court that Mark has been our local provider for 13 years. He has a wonderful relationship with most of the people in the county, especially the sheriff's office, as you may recall in our deliberations last year when we got the cybersecurity grant. So I wanted to have both Angelo State here today to talk about cybersecurity. And then I was hoping that Mark would be able to be here to talk about what he will now be able to offer us, which is what we're going to have to do is go back to what we did before we ever got a cybersecurity grant. And that was working with Nectar to do our boots on the ground, local provider service, backups. And hopefully the court will agree to enter into an interlocal contract with Angelo State and then follow that up with a contract with Nectar Computers for the boots on the ground backup service. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Would
Mark is willing, yes.
I just wanted to. Bring up that second grant that we applied for was for the education part. So that one was going to be more for each department to get. Education on best practices.
That's true.
So it wasn't going to continue what part one was for because there's
Okay.
4 phases on there. Now, we still have the opportunity to apply for 2 more phases. Of course, the match continues to go up.
Okay.
But if this group is brought in and then with your local provider, if they still want to go after those next 2 funding opportunities that are for something totally different, we can also explore that if that's something the county wants to do.
Great.
But so the one that we did not get was for education, and I think we just didn't have enough employees in the county. Because we specified that they should come to each department to help them with the best practices on your cybersecurity.
Gotcha.
So, why I feel bad that we didn't get it, I also don't feel like we lost a huge one, but there are opportunities for larger ones, in the next 2 funding cycles.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
but we were left without the funding. We didn't know that was happening, so we didn't budget.
Yeah.
For the grant to-
So that's
No, it
why.
was a 1 year, yeah, it was a 1 year.
But that's why we're scrambling now, that is to make sure that we've got cybersecurity protections and we have our local. But I think it might be wise that maybe we sit down with the auditor, with a representative Lone Star Strategy.
Sure.
And if we do agree to keep our local provider
Okay,
and figure out what is the process we need to do to make sure that we have good IT service and we have good protections.
Got it.
So
Yes.
thank you for
sounds
saying
good,
that.
yes, thank you.
And that was just a discussion only, Judge.
Okay, so I don't know if you want to do number 9, if you want to wait for Mark to be here.
Yeah, I've got number 9 in place
Let
and
me go ahead and call number 9. So I'm
Thank
gonna
you,
close
sir.
Number 8 out and a discussion item number 9, agenda item number 9, discussion with action to approve a month-to-month contract. Looks like it would be effective November 1st, 2025.
Correct.
And end December 31st, 2025.
This was when I first put this agenda item, the provider was saying 2 months, and then the contract, when we discussed it more, we asked him to, right?
I requested changing it, so it's a 1 year.
Okay.
And then automatically goes into a month to month, we call it an evergreen contract.
Right.
I requested that because we're kind of in the middle of fiscal year, that the initial term end on September 30th, and that way we don't have to worry about fiscal year issues.
Yeah.
And then it roll into a month to month, from September or on October 1st of next year. There was also a couple of other questions we had in, in the contract that right now I don't think we're in a place to sign, not the contract that was presented today. He knows about the changes, it was just yesterday, cause he only sent the contract over on Monday, so it was yesterday that I looked at it. And he didn't have time to make the changes to the contract, or discuss it yesterday, so today we're not going to sign the contract that's presented. There's two options for this, cause the provisions are pretty small, it's that one, which is the term. Another one, which was a question that I had, which is, he had a $750 onboarding implementation fee, but this is. Services that we have currently, so why would we pay an implementation fee for something that's already been implemented? And then what was the last question we had? Oh, just clarifying the number of computers, workstations, that's not a huge deal because the contract says up to 100, so it's already built in. That the number of computer workstations will change throughout the year, so that one's not a big deal to change in the contract. But with those other two changes, you can either hold off on this. Table this for the next meeting, or you can approve the contract with those two changes. Or you can authorize me or Deirdre as agent to enter into the contract before the next meeting. Those are the three options we have right now with that contract.
My recommendation would be that we authorize Blair, y'all, because recognize that everything ends October 31st. So if we don't authorize Blair to negotiate this contract for us, then we have no backup services. Our next meeting is November 12th.
There'll be a lapse of services
Yeah.
for a couple of weeks.
For a couple of weeks, and I mean, it's the pleasure of the court, but I just wanted to let y'all know that's why I was hoping, and Blair is absolutely correct. I got the contract on Monday, sent it over to our county attorney and our auditor for review, and we got all of our submissions back to Nectar Computer yesterday. And we do not have an up-to-date contract yet. But if Nectar Computer is willing to deal with those three issues that Blair just pointed out, I think it would be a good thing that we could at least have our backups in place on November 1st.
I think you just made a motion.
I did.
Which I'm good with it. So let me make sure I get this right. We'll probably see this item again here in a couple of months, with getting us through the fiscal year. And then we'll tackle this as a fiscal year problem going forward.
Yes, sir.
Right, so.
I think the motion, just for the clerk's certification, was to authorize me as the agent to be able to enter into this contract, and I won't enter into it until it's satisfied by.
Right.
Right. So moved.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
I thank you, Blair.
Now, thank you, Blair. Ms. Park, we'll move on to agenda item number 10, discussion. Approval of interlocal cooperation contract between Angelo State University and Presidio County relating to the use of the Angelo State Regional Security Operations Center.
Commissioners, that is on your drive, I believe. Were you able to load that this morning? Okay, great. It has been reviewed by our county attorney and we felt it was pretty standard. It's the interlocal cooperation agreement between Angelo State University and Presidio County.
Yeah, that looks good,
Yeah.
and it's free, so.
And it's free, and if there's any additional questions, we have the experts here. Yes, sir.
Did have one note I wanted to clarify. In the contracts, it specifies that you can choose either option 1 or option 2 for your response matrix. Basically, that just delineates between what we're allowed to do on your computers. Option 1, you basically have full authorization to do anything with YouTube, regardless of what it is. Option 2 is really meant for larger cities that have, like a 911 server that's kind of vital. And so that option gives basically a little bit of flexibility, so we have to get authorization before we can do certain things on that machine. So just kind of give you some context as.
So I think what he's talking about is, like, he's gonna expect, they're gonna expect us to have a chain of command.
Right.
Who gets the phone call if they know we're being attacked? Say they go through the chain of command and there's 10 people on this thing. And nobody's answered, they would have the authority to shut it down. Based on what they're seeing and their expertise until they can get a hold of us. And we have to be okay if we get interrupted that way.
That's correct.
And is
So-
that listed on the contract on a certain page, you know?
I don't know the page, I believe it's in section P5.
Okay,
The
thank
list
you.
out options 1 and 2. I will also note that every one of our 100+ clients has selected option 1.
Okay.
Was a trade-off of risk with option 1 is we make a mistake when, take down a server temporarily that is needed to me. Versus option 2, if we can't get someone in the middle of the night,
Exactly.
actions thinking it could escalate further.
No, exactly.
Okay.
How many times are we out of cell service or we got it on vibrate or we're in a meeting? And we'll leave ourselves exposed that way. So. Okay, so do you wanna, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
And even if you want to add that option 1 or 2.
I did.
All right,
I move that we approve the interlocal cooperation contract with option 1 between Angelo State University and Presidio County relating to the use of the Angelo State Regional Security Operations Center, RSOC, services at no cost to the county.
have a motion,
Second.
have a motion and a second, any other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
I can do that.
So we'll move to administrative updates and announcements from the commissioners and county judge. So, Commissioner Knight,
I don't have anything.
Commissioner Hernandez, Commissioner Ortiz.
Just gonna update y'all on the golf course. We are getting closer to that point when we can start drafting the short-term management contract. I will be working with our county attorney. And I have my fingers crossed that we might be able to present that at the next meeting on November 12th. We've come a long way. This group is working really hard. Regarding Vizcaino Park, we have a nonprofit that's forming, and they have been maintaining the, all the fields and, all the electricity is off the county books now, all the water is off the county books, there's nothing being charged to the county anymore. That's what I got.
Madam Clerk,
Elections are on their way and going very slowly. And on the vote, all right. Yeah.
I guess encourage everybody to go vote. Madam Treasurer, Auditor,
No, sir.
Ms. Park? Anything? I don't have anything else to add. That's, wasn't a bad meeting.
No.
For all the items.
I know.
So we tackled it pretty good. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
I.
It is 11:15. Meeting over.